All right, excellent. Hey everyone, it is 9 o'clock on the dot my time, which means we are officially started with the webinar. I'm actually going to hold off for about 2 minutes. I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to get settled in and join the recording. So at 2 minutes time, I will begin the presentation. If you have any questions for me prior to that, please feel free to put those in the chat box. If you have any questions about really anything about related to Linnworks, I'm happy to tackle those. And of course, if I can't answer those on the spot, if I need to research something for you, I'll certainly do that, and we will certainly get back at you with those as well. I'm showing 9:01 on my clock, so I'm going to give it one more minute to let everybody get in, and we'll go ahead and get started. Let me get a slide deck presented for us in the meantime. Nicholas, might you link me to that slide deck? I don't want to spend any time looking for that in my bookmarks. All right, Nick, how's that looking? Does that look like we want it to? I would expect so. All right, everyone. It is 9:02, so we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Vincent Stavrowski. I am a sales engineer here at Linnworks. I do a lot of demonstrations and act as a technical resource for our sales team. I'll be presenting today specifically on boosting warehouse efficiency, mastering pick waves, and routing with Linnworks. Today, you'll get a brief overview of the entire platform. I'm going to take you through just a high-level overview of the whole thing, so you guys kind of get it oriented to the platform, and then we'll dive in specifically around increasing efficiency in your warehouse, increasing that fulfillment speed, and assisting your team, get through their daily life easier with regards to fulfilling orders and managing that warehouse. So we'll get into that. Again, if you guys have questions, please put those in the chat box here. I've got a team behind me that will be observing those questions. I'll be answering the ones that I can, and then we'll certainly follow up with any additional answers afterwards. So with that, team, I'm going to go ahead and share my platform, and we will get into it. Let me just quickly double check here. Cool. This will be at the end. I want to have you guys scan that QR code here at the end once we wrap up here. And if you need to reach out to us, that'll be a great resource for that as well. Let's go ahead and get the platform shared. There we go. That should be showing my platform on the screen there. Hopefully that looks good. It's probably changing sizes on y'all. Let's get a stable size. There we go, like that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started then. So I'm gonna start the presentation on the channel integrations screen. If you've seen a Linnworks demo before, you know we typically start here really just to demonstrate the number of different marketplaces and channels that we can get you connected to as a seller. In my demonstration site that you see here, I've got a couple of regional Amazon accounts. I've got an eBay store connected. I have 2 different Shopify accounts connected at the same time. I like to think of those maybe as a retail environment versus a wholesale environment, or maybe I manage several different brands, several different websites, and I have those independently connected, and that's perfectly fine. Linnworks loves to do that. You'll notice that they are all individually configurable as well. Just clicking in here very quickly, we can see all of the configuration capability that we have for individual channel connections. It's quite a lot. On a different webinar, maybe we'll dive a little deeper into that, or perhaps you've seen one where we go into that a little bit deeper as well. But if you wanted to attach to a different marketplace or add additional marketplaces or channels to your connections, you'll click that add new button there, and you'll see we've got nearly 80 additional marketplaces and channels that we have integrations already built for. So quite an extensive list here of additional channels and marketplaces that you'll have access to using the Linnworks platform. All right, moving on past that, guys, let's jump quickly into the inventory side of Linnworks. So we'll start here on our default dashboard under inventory. I've gotten to this dashboard by coming up to my inventory section up here and clicking my inventory. You'll notice we've got quite a bit of additional inventory management system functionality available to you here as well. For today, we're primarily going to stick on this My Inventory dashboard. You'll notice that we do manage your inventory by warehouse location. So I've got my warehouse being displayed over here. I could switch this up and take a look at my other warehouse in Texas. I've got another warehouse in London. I can take a look at my inventory items and availability at that warehouse as well. We do have the ability to connect to third-party logistics center as well. So if you're leasing warehouse operational space and services with a 3PL, we will get you connected to that 3PL and we will show you your inventory values at that location as well. You'll notice I've got my 3PL in California selected here, and I don't have any data being fed into the system right now because mine's a fictitious account. Mine's not actually set up with a 3PL. But if I was receiving data from that 3PL over in California, I would see all of my inventory values in these columns here as well. That's also true for Amazon FBA. So if you store items at FBA or Walmart Fulfillment Services, you'll be able to see your inventory stored at that location as well. And then, of course, we're going to give you the combined inventory view. This will show you your combined totals across all of your different locations, all in one view. And that's what you get to see here. So that's the availability of a given product across all of my warehouses in that combined view. I can also see for a single SKU item where that particular item lives across my warehouse network. So in this example, I've got several different warehouses, and I can see for this particular SKU item what the availability is in each of those different warehouses there. So all of that really just to show you all that regardless of where your inventory is stored or located, we're going to give you good management capability and good visibility onto that inventory. All right. With that, it's important to let you know that this available column is what gets transmitted to the various marketplaces and channels. That is derived from our current stock level. That is what physically exists in our warehouse, minus what is currently allocated to open orders. So we take what we have in stock, we say, hey, some of that inventory is already allocated to open orders that need to be fulfilled, and here's what we have left remaining to sell in our inventory. This column is what is transmitted across your channels and marketplaces, and that's done at a high rate of frequency. So talking in 5, 10, 15 minutes at the most. Oftentimes it's faster than that. And so that enables your system to communicate to your marketplaces and channels your sellable inventory at a very high frequency. Keeping that inventory synchronized with your marketplaces channels prevents issues like overselling, and it gives you your customers a good idea of what you have available at that specific time. All right, next up, let's talk about a little bit about individual SKU item details. So if you were going to engage in the process of listing your products, or you want to fulfill orders, but you want to automate that order fulfillment based on some of those order attributes, which may contain some specific line item attributes that could impact how you are actually fulfilling those orders. That's all very important to e-commerce operations. And to accommodate that specifically for listings and routing orders based on order line item properties, we have the individual SKU product details. So this is a page that comes up when you click into a single SKU item in Linnworks, and this is where we hold all of that individual SKU data. So you'll see several different tabs here: general, images, posted definition, and so on, that hold information about this particular SKU item. You'll see we've got an image gallery that holds up to 12 different images for a specific SKU, and then you can decide where and when you're going to use those specific images. We want to know the physical properties of a given SKU item. Listing descriptions, that is a tab that holds variable pricing per SKU per channel. So if you need to update your pricing across all of your SKUs, across all of your channels, you'll simply provide Linnworks a file that has all those updates on it. Those will load into these specific tables, and then Linnworks will handle updating your channels and marketplaces with that new price update for you. And that happens automatically once that price is updated by you in Linnworks. That's also true for products and titles. So if you need to alter your titles or your descriptions for different channels, different marketplaces for a given SKU, that all happens in the Linnworks platform, which makes that dissemination of information easy across all of your marketplaces and channels. The channel SKU tab helps you guys manage SKU behavior per channel as well. So if you need to set up a maximum amount listed or end a listing when you get down to a certain level of reserve or safety stock, you can program that per SKU per channel, which is incredibly important to some of our customers as well. I don't want to spend too much time on the product details because I really want to get into order management and using pick waves and our digital capabilities around fulfillment to increase efficiency. So we won't spend too much more time here in product details. I will say, if you're interested in this, if you're looking for more information about our lightweight PIM and how we utilize product information in our listings tool, check out one of our other webinars. There's many posted out there where we go deep into this particular function, and I'll go a lot more detail and show you guys a lot more around that. But today we're going to stick mostly around order management. So I will just say this tab here, the extended properties table, allows you to create attributes and give those attributes a specific value for a specific SKU, and our OMS can read this table. So we can help you make decisions around how you're going to fulfill or handle a particular order based on that order's line item attributes, which is what we're looking at right here. So you could think, for example, I've got lots of different attributes in this table here, but you might think of, hey, if I have an attribute called fragile and the value I've entered for this item is true, when an order comes in with this item that has an attribute of fragile and the value is true, that could inform our OMS that this item needs special handling, or it should be shipped with a specific carrier service, or it should be packaged a specific way. You could also imagine if I had the attribute of lithium-ion battery and the value was true. So this item contains a lithium-ion battery. That might dictate how I have to fulfill or how I have to send that particular order. Maybe I have to use UPS ground or FedEx ground because I have a lithium-ion battery contained within this order, right? So those are the types of decisions that our OMS can make for you based on attributes of a line item within a particular order. So something to think about as you are writing rules to your system or creating processes within your fulfillment centers. All right, with that, I just want to mention again that we have the ability to set up specific views of your inventory for specific functions as well. I have a couple of views here. One's for listing. I've set up another one for forecasting. Today, we're not going to dive into these particular topics. Again, we're going to skip over these and jump into order routing and order management. But Linnworks does have the ability to bulk list items to specific channels. All right, and we'll get into this on another webinar, or perhaps you've seen a webinar previously where I've gotten into this, but Linnworks does have that listings capability. We utilize the data that you've put in for that particular SKU into Linnworks to help create those listings using category specific and marketplace specific listing templates. All right, those are going to be very detailed and very specific to the category and the marketplace that you're listing on. That is built into our system as well. I've got another view here for forecasting. Again, with forecasting enabled, we do have the ability to calculate your daily average consumption rate per SKU per warehouse. We utilize that information in conjunction with tons of other parameters that you establish in the system to output a simple reorder date and a reorder amount. So if we can help you with your demand planning by suggesting reorder points and suggesting reorder quantities, that's exactly what forecasting in Linnworks can do for you. Again, we could go really deep in on this topic on another webinar or another opportunity there. Or if you have questions around this, please let us know. We can reach out to you for a deeper discussion around some of these topics. You can create additional views here. So if you wanted to break out your inventory by brand or by category or by product type, or however you see fit to view your inventory in different ways, you can create custom views to manage your inventory how you see fit. Okay, with that, let's move on to the open orders section. Open orders is essentially really important because this is where all of the orders that are being downloaded across your different marketplaces and channels, they're all going to funnel to this particular folder, to this location here. From here, we expect Linnworks to take action on these orders. When I say Linnworks to take action, what I'm talking about is programming our rules engine to automatically start processing these orders or start taking action on these orders to increase the efficiency, increase the speed at which you're fulfilling your customers' orders. So just taking a quick look here, we're currently looking at an all orders folder in Linnworks. This is all of the orders that have been downloaded, say last night, and we have yet to take action on these orders. So I have the ability to say, select a particular order, and I have the manual actions. You'll see the little bar up here is flashing, letting me know, hey, you've got some actions you can take. I can also right click on this order and I can take specific actions on this order, such as pushing this order to a different folder for a different processing methodology. I could send this order to a different fulfillment location if I need to move this order to a different warehouse to be fulfilled where, say, they have the inventory that this order needs. I have the ability to change the shipping service that was defaulted to this order. If I needed to change it to something specific, like in this case, Royal Mail first class small parcel, right? That could be the service that I want to use for this particular order. I have the ability to run quotes for shipping services against this order. So Linnworks intrinsically knows where this order is going, how much it weighs, how big it is, because we have that data either downloaded from the order or we have that data captured for individual SKUs that are contained within that order. So using that information, we can ask the system to run some quotes for us and tell us, hey, how much would it cost to ship this particular order to this particular customer with the variety of different carrier services that I have access to? I can ask the system to do that for me. I can also generate a pick wave, either a paper copy for a pick list, or I could generate a digital pick wave and send that to a mobile device. That's what we're going to spend a lot of time on today. So stay tuned. That's coming up here very quickly. Or I could manually print a shipping label and invoice, manually print a pick list or a pack list. So there's lots of manual actions I could take on this individual order here, which is fine and great because sometimes manual intervention is needed. However, I will say that primarily I would like for most of our customers to automate everything I just showed you on the screen there. So with that, we would approach that problem utilizing our rules engine. So in the event that I actually want to automate many of those different tasks that I just showed you that relate to order fulfillment, I would actually utilize our rules engine. So I'll come into the order section here. I'm going to come down to the rules engine and open up this section for us to talk a little bit about. So the rules engine essentially is a table where you get to create automations within the Linnworks system that match your operations. And think about that for just a second. What this is it is a screen that gives you access to the ability to create automations within the Linnworks system that match your fulfillment operations specifically. So if you were to ask me, hey, would 2 or 3 of your customers have the exact same rules within their system? It's unlikely. They probably wouldn't. They probably wouldn't have the same rules. Now they may be similar actions being taken place within a fulfillment center from one customer to the next, but they won't be exactly the same. And that is because for each individual rule that you write into the system, you can get very specific as to what that rule is looking for in individual orders as they're downloaded to the system and what you choose to do with those orders once they've been run through the particular rule. In this example, I've got a shipping allocation rule here. We can see that we've got a start block, which is where the order enters the rule. From there, that order is queried. Did that order come from Amazon, eBay, or Shopify? Now, again, remember, this is a very specific and custom rule that I've written from my demonstration environment. You may have a very different rule set within your environment. But in this example, the system is first understanding which source or which marketplace this order came from. Then based on that information, we take a look at it a little bit deeper. So let's say, hey, this order did come from Amazon. The next thing I want to know is this a seller fulfilled Prime order? If that's true, it is a seller fulfilled prime order from Amazon, I'm going to immediately assign this to my 24-hour shipping methodology, whatever workflow that is. That's where I'm going to assign that particular order to. I also want to know, if that order going to a US territory? If it is, I've got a specific folder that I add orders to that are going to a US territory, because I want my warehouse manager to take a look at that order specifically and make some human decisions about how we're going to ship to a US territory. Say Puerto Rico or Guam, there might be some complexities in shipping to some of those locations. And so I actually want a human to take a look at that and make some detailed decisions. If it's not going to a US territory, we're going to the contiguous United States, or we're shipping to a known destination that we know, hey, this is how we want to ship to there. I might classify that shipment as a small shipment or a large shipment, as I've defined that in my system, as you might define it in your system. And then we'll add that order to that particular workflow in that example. And that's the same as if it's an eBay order, if it's a Shopify order. I have specific rules attached to those particular marketplaces and channels, how I would handle orders based on where those orders are coming from. So here's a good example of a rule that you could write into the Linnworks system to help you manage and automate some of those processes. Let's back out of here real quick. I want to show you another one. This is a warehouse allocation rule that I particularly think is neat. In this case, an order comes into the system. And in this example, I know, hey, if this is a Walmart order, I actually have all my Walmart specific inventory held at a 3PL, and I want them to handle that order. So if an order comes into my system, it's identified as a Walmart order, I immediately push that order over to my 3PL, and they fulfill that order on my behalf. In turn, they give me a dispatch notification that lets me know the status of that order, as well as the tracking information on that order. That comes back into Linnworks automatically, and then we push that up to, in this case, the Walmart channel, to let that Walmart channel know the tracking number, the order status, and of course, communicating that with our customer through that method as well. If it's not a Walmart order, so I've got an order that came in, it's not a Walmart order, then I know that order is going to be fulfilled from either my West Coast warehouse or my East Coast warehouse. Now, I determine which of those warehouses is going to fulfill that order for me based on the leading digit of the zip code for the destination address in this case. So if that zip code for the destination address of that order begins with a 5 through a 9, I know that's leaving my West Coast warehouse. If it begins with a 1 through a 4, I know that's leaving my East Coast warehouse. So I can automatically assign and route those orders based on the destination address to the appropriate warehouse, just based on that simple rule right there. So that immediately takes a decision out of the hands of my warehouse team. They don't have to think about that. The software is automatically assigning that for us, and we can get on with our day. Now, we can inject additional rules here. So let's say that the destination address said it should be going to your West Coast warehouse. However, my West Coast warehouse is out of stock for that particular item. There could be another rule that says, hey, that's not a problem. Go ahead and reroute that order to your East Coast warehouse, where we know we have that inventory and we can fulfill that order out of that location as well. So these rules can, they can layer, you can stack them, you can get more complicated. And in this example, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different rules that are running in a specific sequence here. So every order that comes into my system is being run through these various rule sets in this particular order. And that allows me to know exactly how orders are going to be routed when they enter my system. As my organization evolves and grows, and some of my processes either become more complex, or they change, or I simplify processes, whatever the case may be, I have the ability to come in here and edit these rules or alter these processes in the system as a customer. So these are accessible to you. You do not have to keep coming back to Linnworks to ask us to change these rules or set up these automations for you. We will train you how to use these and how to optimize your fulfillment centers operations utilizing these rule sets. So that's one way out of several that we can increase the efficiency within your fulfillment center locations. We can help your warehouse team get through their day a little bit faster, ultimately serving your customers better, getting their items shipped to them at the speed that they expect. These customers today expect their shipments in 1 or 2 days at the most, and it's a challenge for us to be able to fulfill those orders at that speed. And so Linnworks offers you some capabilities in automations and order handling that can really give your team a leg up in that entire process there. Okay, awesome. Now, the next thing I really want to get into is actually dispatching orders, getting those orders out to your customers, getting those labels printed, getting the items picked, packed, and shipped and staged, the way that they need to be. And I'm going to take you through that process as well. However, based on those rules that I just showed you, and based on some of those manual actions that I showed you as well, we know that there are many different ways that our customers might go about through their fulfillment process, right? And one of the things that I wanted to show you all today that I thought was interesting, at least, is under settings, under the order management section. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here to the order processing section. A couple things I want to show you guys that I think is cool, and I think that add to efficiencies in that fulfillment operation. The first is barcode processing, right? I had some examples of customers that were going through their fulfillment process, scanning items, putting them in packages, and they didn't really want to stop, grab the mouse, look for a button on screen, and click the process button to process each individual order. Now, at first glance, that sounds like, really? You can't click a button on a screen? But understanding the volume that some of our customers, the volume of orders that they're processing on a daily basis, it can get kind of wild. You hear stories about the volume that a specific individual sitting at a desk, processing orders has to go through, and it turns out that's a lot of orders throughout the day. So one of the things that we offer is the ability to scan a barcode to take an action. And in this case, I've set up a barcode for processing orders. So as I'm going through that, scanning, packing an order, printing a shipping label, and I'm like, yes, it's time to process an order. All I've got to do is scan that barcode, and that takes the action of processing that particular order. We can also do that with a space bar, right? If you want to batch your orders into specific batch sizes as you're going through that processing operation, you can tell the system, hey, put those in batches of 10 each, because that's the increment that we want to work on our individual orders. You can set that up manually in the system as well. Label printing when processing, that could indicate that, hey, when I process an order, automatically print that label for me, and that could be a part of that inline fulfillment process as well. You can do the same thing with an invoice. Or if you want to get a very accurate reading on the weight of an order as it's being processed, that includes the order items, the packing materials, the box itself. You can tell the system to ask for order weight from a USB scale as that order is being processed as well. So you have that up to the minute order information being loaded into whatever carrier service you're using from that USB scale at that moment. So that could be an added efficiency to that as well. So I just wanted to point out that these services are there. They're available to you in the order management sections under general settings. Some things I get asked about oftentimes in demonstrations is, do we have some of these processes available? So I wanted to show that to you all, make sure that you all were aware of that. And with that, let's get into dispatching a given order. To dispatch an order, we first need to pick the order from our warehouse, right? So we've got, say, an order here, several different orders in line. I need to create a pick wave for some of these orders. Now, I could select a single order here and say, hey, I'd like to generate a pick wave for that order. I could do that. It's probably not the most efficient way to do it. Might do something like selecting a whole bunch of different orders all at once and saying, hey, let's go ahead and generate a pick wave, or let's print a pick list for all these orders at the same time. Now, pick wave, I will probably typically send to my mobile device or my mobile environment. I'm about to show you here mobile environment in Linnworks, or I could print off a paper pick list like I might have done in an analog environment where I don't have scanners and mobile devices to utilize. Linnworks supports both methods. We're happy to support both methods. We don't have a preference of one over the other. We really want to align ourselves with your fulfillment style in your particular warehouse. So if you guys are using paper pick lists with pen and paper, perfectly fine. If you guys would like us to push that pick wave or pick list to a mobile device so you can use a scanner and a handheld to go through the warehouse and pick, we accommodate that as well. The nice thing about the pick lists in Linnworks, the ones that you print off from a paper copy, is you do have the ability to customize what that paper pick list looks like. So I've gone into settings, I've come to my template designer. Here's a pick list template I can show you all. Here's an example of a pick list template that I might utilize. It's got the image of the product, the SKU. We've got the bin rack location where I can locate that particular item in my warehouse and the quantity that I need to pick there. So just a very simple example, but you'll notice we have the ability to customize what this pick list looks like. So if you need, an order barcode, an item barcode, more information, a bigger picture, maybe less information on this pick list, so you don't want to confuse your warehouse team as they're going through rapid processes, you get to customize what this looks like to match, whatever is needed within your particular warehouse. So you have that capability within our system. And I'll add to that, many of the documents that you can print from Linnworks or produce from Linnworks, you have the ability to really customize what that looks like, really to help kind of accommodate your specific operations. All right. Now, when we send a pick list to a mobile device, or we send it to, say you've got a scanner with an Android attached to it, or you've got a tablet or a mobile phone that you want to send a pick list to, let me quickly, hopefully effectively, switch over to my mobile environment. So let's say I selected generate a pick wave and I want to send this to my mobile environment, and I do just that. Make sure this works. Hopefully you're now looking at my mobile environment of Linnworks, where I've actually selected pick waves, and I've sent a couple of pick waves to my system, to my mobile environment here. And here's one right here. This is an unallocated pick wave. I want to allocate this pick wave to myself as a picker. And here's the items that I need to pick for this particular pick wave. So I've got, again, an image of the item. I've got the SKU itself. I've got a description of that SKU. I've got the bin rack location for that particular SKU item where it's stored. And I need to pick one unit in this case. So I can go to this bin rack location, A03 SO103. So yep, I found that unit. I need to pick one. I'm going to pick one. I'll update the quantity, and the system is aware, hey, you've picked that item. That item is now in your cart for the picking process, right? I can go through and continue to do that. Alternatively, if you would like your warehouse team to scan on pick, you have the ability to enable forced scan. So in this case, when I go to pick this Patagonia Gravel S t-shirt from A03 SO201, instead of asking me the quantity that I'm picking, the system could be instructed to say, hey, scan the barcode for that item. I'll scan the barcode, it accepts that item instead of me typing this in, and that could greatly reduce the number of mispicks that you experience in your warehouse. So the team is kind of guaranteed to pick the correct item because they're scanning a specific barcode as they're going through that picking process, right? So just a quick example of what that looks like there. When it comes time to actually process the order, dispatch the order, we've got a couple of different ways we can accommodate that as well. So you've seen a paper pick list, you've seen a digital pick list here on the screen. Let's go back to the desktop environment. Make sure that pops up. Okay, cool. Now we could also dispatch either, as I mentioned, from the desktop environment. We could also dispatch from the mobile environment, like I showed you earlier. So from the desktop environment, let's take a quick look at the dispatch console. I'm going to go ahead and enter an order here that I want to process. So we'll enter this particular order. Excellent. And this is the final stage of processing an order in Linnworks. You'll notice a couple things on the screen here. This is the order ID that we're processing here. It looks like this order has been merged. So we've had two orders come in from the same customer, same card, same shipping address. We've entered a rule into our system that when we see that, multiple orders coming in from the exact same customer, go ahead and merge those orders to a single shipment. That's a rule you could write into the system. And then we can save on shipping by sending that entire order with one package instead of several different packages as that customer has entered several different orders. That's perfectly fine. A couple of things you might notice here. Order items scanning required. So in this case, as I'm putting items in the box, so I've got my picked trolley here. I'm taking those items, I'm putting them in a specific box. I need to print a shipping label and get this box staged. This system is actually giving me a quality control stage here where I need to scan the individual items into that final shipping box. So I've got two SKUs here that I would this system would require me to scan those two items barcodes as I'm putting them in the box. Again, to reduce the number of fulfillment errors that we see there. I would be selecting the final shipping method in this case. That should already be determined. So we expect that you're writing rules into the system to identify which shipping service you're going to use for a given order before we get to this stage. Now, in this case, I don't have any shipping services set up on my demonstration site, so it just says default there. I could switch this to, hey, I'm actually going to use Royal Mail, specifically first class small parcel in this case, right? That should be already pre-filled for you by your rules engine, but if it's not, you do have a final opportunity to indicate that here as well. When we print that label, for that shipping label, the tracking number is going to automatically be added to this particular order based on that shipping label, and then we can process this order from here. Now, this is a very manual way to go through that process. I actually would prefer a little bit more automation in my process here along that. So that's where we would probably suggest either using the mobile environment, scanning on dispatch, or setting up macros within your system, or utilizing that rules engine to really maximize the efficiency of dispatching specific types of orders in a specific order within your system or within your operations as well, just to help increase the speed of that fulfillment. So this is one method. This is sitting at a desk, fulfilling orders from the desktop operation here. And of course, we'd process that order to actually get that order out. But you can see here, we have the option to scan those items, print the shipping labels, print invoices, or split this packaging from this final step here in processing this order if we need to. All right, enough about that. Let's now do the exact same thing, but we're going to do this from the mobile environment this time instead. So again, I'm going to switch over to our mobile environment. Make sure that pops up on the screen. There we go. And now I've come into my dispatch console on the mobile environment. I'm going to put that same order in. And there it is. There's the exact same order. So there's that order ID. Here's a couple of items. You'll notice, again, the system is saying, hey, order requires scanning all items. So I actually could not dispatch this order until I scan this SKU, and then I scan this SKU indicating, yes, I have the actual SKUs that I'm supposed to have. The correct SKUs are going in this box. Once I've scanned those two items, that process button becomes available on my mobile environment. And again, I can kick that order right out the door. I, again, would probably have that process button linked with printing a shipping label. So that would be an automated function there. When I hit that process button, that shipping label comes out. I can put that on the box and stage that box for picked up from my carrier service. So you saw fulfilling an order from the desktop environment. We also show you access to fulfilling an order from the mobile environment. So you have options, you have configuration options there. It's one of the things that I oftentimes have to have a little bit longer discussion with our customers about is Linnworks is flexible enough and configurable enough to accommodate your existing workflows in most cases. Most cases, our customers come to us thinking that they're going to have to change a lot of their internal workflows to be able to use the Linnworks platform. And that's not true. Linnworks oftentimes is configurable and flexible enough that we can match your existing processes and then allow you the opportunity to incrementally improve your warehouse or fulfillment processes, leading to greater efficiencies over time. Our system is designed for that function. So as your business grows, as your fulfillment operations either become more complex or you wish to streamline them further, the Linnworks system gives you the opportunity to make those adaptations to your processes. It's a great system to grow with. We can start small and grow huge. We can start in one configuration and evolve to another configuration. The system is very adaptable in that way. And so hopefully that gives you a good idea of how Linnworks can give you the opportunity to make your warehouse operations more efficient, increase the speed of fulfillment, ultimately leading to a better customer experience for your customers at the end of the day. And that's really, one of the major goals that we have as an organization is helping our sellers do just that. Okay, that really gets us through the majority of what I wanted to talk about today with regards to efficiencies in the warehouse, efficiencies in that pick, pack, and ship process. I haven't seen any questions come up. Let me just double check quickly here. I don't see any additional questions coming up in chat. If there are any that I'm simply not seeing or that we need to catch up on, I'll certainly research those and get back to you individually on those individual questions there. So thanks everybody for joining the webinar today. We're going to end just a few minutes early here. I'll give you some time back, but I certainly appreciate the attention and the opportunity to show you our system and how we can increase efficiency within your warehouse operations. So thanks so much, everyone. I hope you all have an awesome day. Let me do this for you as well. I want to make sure that I have this QR code displaying on the screen. Hopefully that's being shared to you all. Yeah, it looks like it is. If you want to scan that QR code and reach out to us individually, you certainly can. Otherwise, reach out to us, whatever is most comfortable for you, whether that's an email, a phone call, and let me set up a very specific and customized demo for your operations. I'd love to talk to you further about that, or any other of our sales engineers or salespeople would love to take you a little bit deeper into that conversation. So again, thanks so much, everybody. I hope you all have a great day, and we'll talk soon.